Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. I know we're starting a little bit late, but thank you again for your patience. So welcome again. This is at 6:06. So I want to call this meeting to order. And this is the public meeting of the City of Soledad, the City Council Successor Agency Housing Authority and Successor Housing Agency Special Meeting Wednesday, October 23rd of 2024. So thank you everyone who's joining us tonight, those that are joining us here in our council chambers, and thank you for those that are joining us also remotely. So just a couple of reminders for tonight is just a couple of ways that you can make public comments for tonight's meeting. You can join the meeting via Zoom. The meeting ID is located on the agenda, but for those that are joining us via Zoom, the meeting ID is 839-9236-0958. If you don't have access to a computer, you can also call in. The number is 1-669-900-6833. Also, for many, as you know, the meeting is streamed live via Facebook, but just as a note, again, public comments cannot be made here. They will not be recorded. So if you want to make any public comments and you want those to be recorded as part of the meeting, you do need to make sure that you either call in or that you sign into Zoom. And again, the meeting is being recorded also. I mean, the meeting is made available also in Spanish, so we do have a translator. If you need that assistance, please make sure that that you request that feature, because we do have that available as part of our regular meetings as well. Okay, so with that, we will call the meeting to order.
It's on YouTube, not on Facebook.
Well, I said live Facebook. Okay, thank you for the correction. So it's on YouTube. Thank you. So I have to correct my notes. So thank you for that. So so with that, we will have roll call, please.
Mayor Ana Velasquez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Maria Cornejo.
Here.
Councilmember Fernando Cabrera.
Here.
Councilmember Fernando Ansaldo Sanchez.
He's not here, but he's absent and he has an excused absent.
Councilmember Evarista Bangoes.
Here.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next item on our agenda, which is our Pledge of Allegiance. So if we can all please stand so we can recite the pledge. And Maury, if you can please do us the favor and the honor. Yes, the honor.
Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And just a note, I do not have access to my computer because it's being worked on. So I'm not able to log on. So just if you could please let me know if there's any public comments. Okay, so we will move on then to our next item, which is our public comments. So at this time, if there's any members, additions or modifications to the agenda, and we do have an addition to we have modifications to the agenda today. So we have, our city manager has requested that under the business section of our agenda, that if we can move item 3 on our agenda to be placed under item 2, and then item 2 to be placed under item 3. So we will make that change. Any other additions or modifications?
No.
Okay. So do we need to take a vote on that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so with that, we'll move on to our next item on our agenda, which is public comment. So at this time, any member of the public may address the city council on items not appearing on the agenda that are within the interest of, within the jurisdiction of the council in the interest of the public. So just as a reminder, the public does have 3 minutes. And also just if you can please be brief, and just to remind the public that at this time, I know that there's been concerns about the council. Sometimes the public feels that the council doesn't address some of the issues under the public comments portion. But under the public comment portion, the council, because it's not an agendized item, we cannot discuss those matters, but we can direct our staff to look into those issues or to request the staff to connect or contact the person if it's an issue that we feel that needs to be addressed right away. And so just wanted to make that clear for our public. So at this time, any members of the public wish to comment on items not on the agenda? For those joining us here in our chambers?
I'll go first. Hi, I'm Jack Britton. I have corresponded with you guys, I think every single one of you via email, to give you a heads up that I was coming, just to alert you to, my family owns the 45 acres, which is the former Miranda Ranch between Miranda and San Vicente. There's a 5-acre parcel of that 40+ acres that wasn't deeded correctly about 15 years ago. and we're trying to clear that up and retitle it to us from the Snyders and also bring it into the city, because the majority of the 40 acres that are there are part of the city. The 5 acres are part of the county, and so we would love your support in annexing that extra 5 acres into the city. So corresponded with Megan and we're gonna meet, but I just wanted to put it on your radar that I'd love your support if possible to bring the extra 5 acres into the city. Our plans for the property are unknown. It's a well-located lot, with a lot of potential in our eyes and path for growth for the city. But we haven't done anything with it, and we would love your support when it does indeed come across your desk at some point in the next month or two. So that's why I'm here. I'm happy to stay at the end. If you guys have questions, stay till the end of the meeting. If you want to reach out to me direct, or Megan has my contact info, you guys can reach out to me direct anytime, but that's the purpose of me being. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other comments or any other public comments? Okay, any any public comments from those that are joining us via Zoom?
No music.
Okay, do we have any written comments that came in? Okay, so seeing that we have no written comments, then we'll move on to council presentations. And so for today, we have 2 council presentations. Our first presentation is by Community Engagement Manager Jesus Valenzuela and Tri-Cities Disposal and Recycling Special Projects Consultant, Maury Tree-Levin, who will give a brief presentation regarding the city-wide garage sale and the city-wide cleanup of events. So thank you so much for doing that. We do have a report that's attached, a staff report, and also a slideshow with some of the numbers from that date. And I just want to say thank you for being here. I know we have the information. Typically, we get the report, but I wanted to make sure that our public had the opportunity to really listen to why the 2 events have been really instrumental in our city and what those 2 events really do for our community. And especially as we move forward with having the city really being proactive in the reduce, reuse, recycle, and as we move forward with making sure that our city is climate resilient, you know, why these 2 events are important. So thank you.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council. I'll be very brief. First and foremost, big shout out to Tri-Cities, also to our front staff who are very instrumental, especially with the addition of Jesus Llanes, of course, the ladies in the front that help coordinate everything, and our IT director, Steven. It was a team effort. So we did a lot of promotion online. We posted and boosted on Facebook and other social media platforms. We got a total of 31,957 impressions, 4,239 engagements, 265 reactions, 47 comments, and people clicked on the link 1,009 times. And it was shared 55 times. And aside from us posting it on our social media platforms, we were also monitoring like the Crime Watch page and other Soledad pages to be responding to people, right? When somebody said, hey, do you know if the garage sale is coming up? We would be there, you know, replying to them. So this is definitely one of the biggest events that our city of Soledad looks forward to. And I'll pass it over to Mari to go over some of the registrations and other information.
Have a little presentation, very short. Excellent, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. As the Mayor stated, my name is Mallory Treelevin and I work for Tri-Cities Disposal and Recycling. I serve the cities of Gonzales, Greenfield, and Soledad in community outreach and education, compliance with state laws regarding recycling and waste diversion and hazardous waste management, and also special projects. So I'm very honored to be here tonight to talk to you about our most recent cleanup event here in Soledad. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about why do we do this? Why do we do the community-wide garage sales? Why do we coordinate them with the cleanup events and other things that we coordinate with these events? So first of all, it prevents illegal dumping. Illegal dumping, whether it's in our cities or out in the county on the county roads, is a large issue here in the Salinas Valley. It bridges all economic demographics. Oftentimes when we catch people on camera from time to time dumping on back roads, they have beautiful, expensive vehicles. They are people who you might think would know what to do with those items. There are many probable reasons why people do this. Sometimes it's part of their own personal value system. Sometimes it's a perception that getting rid of certain items will be too expensive for them, or that it's a hassle. We don't really know exactly why people do it, but they're doing it across all of our society. It's not just one group or one type of person. So preventing illegal dumping is part of the mission of these events. We do hold 2 per year here in the city of Soledad in the spring and then again in the fall. It also helps people to clear clutter. A lot of times you have people coming to the events who say, you know, my mother or father just moved into a care facility or they passed away and now we're cleaning out their house. So think about 60 to 70 years of consumption that suddenly very quickly needs to be gotten rid of. It can be a really daunting and overwhelming task. So we often have people who come to our events who have been working on mom and dad's house for a period of time, and this really helps them quickly get rid of a lot of things. It also prevents waste and encourages reuse. I'll talk to you a little bit about our reuse area as we go along. That includes the garage sales as well. Those events both prevent and encourage reuse. It also diverts recyclable materials from the landfill. Through our volunteers, we help people separate their loads, and a lot of your residents are very good at getting those ready when they come to us, so they know what they're going to put in what container. It's also a legal and safe way to manage household hazardous waste. This is also very important to your public works department because they have a stormwater management plan, and this really feeds into that plan to have these events in place to collect household hazardous waste. It also demonstrates, it's always a teaching opportunity to demonstrate source separation of recyclable materials to the community. It prevents stormwater contamination in that when people know that they have an outlet for certain fluids and things that sometimes people are in the habit of dumping down the storm drain, they will not do that and they'll go ahead and bring it to the event. It's also an outreach and education opportunity. So again, back to your stormwater management plan, Save the Whales, which is contracted with the city of Soledad to do stormwater management outreach and education, comes to the event, and we have a long line of vehicles waiting even before the event opens up. And they do the stormwater surveys, and they also do me the favor of passing out educational information to the community about the services that Tri-Cities provides in the community. So I want to say to you as a city, if you ever have some time where you need to do surveys of your residents or you need to do outreach on a program, this is a perfect opportunity to have a captive audience. We had a number of vehicles there. The parking lot was always lined from beginning to end of the event, people waiting in line. It's a great opportunity. Please reach out to me for these cleanup events twice a year. You're more than welcome to come and talk with your residents while they wait in line. So reuse, as Jesus mentioned, 205 signups for the event for the garage sales. That is fantastic and a fantastic opportunity for people to move things on, make a little money, and also have great finds at a community garage sale. Tri-Cities Disposal and Recycling also sends out a mailer for these events. And so we did also advertise your community-wide garage sale on those mailers that went to residential households. And I really love working with your team at the City of Soledad. We do a great job of coordinating our efforts, and they've done an amazing job, especially in the last 3 years on these. Next slide. So things that we accept at the event, I'll go through the list quickly. General garbage, mattresses for recycling, plastics for recycling, e-waste for recycling, metal and steel for recycling, refrigerators and freezers for recycling, appliances for recycling, water heaters, small engines, household hazardous waste, medical sharps exchange, oil filter vouchers, clothing donations. We have a fantastic take it or leave it area where not only the volunteers, but also the community, if we see something that still looks useful, we grab it before it ends up in a trash dumpster, and we bring it over and see if somebody might want it. People walk away with great finds all the time. It's a really important part of our event and part of the reuse. And since the spring, I've been bringing 25 cubic yards of compost to give away to residents, and the City of Soledad has cleaned me out every time. So it's a very exciting new feature of the cleanup event, and people just love it. And I tell them, take as much as you want, first come, first serve, and enjoy using it. Next slide. So the really exciting part for me is the event data. We served 250 vehicles at this particular event. The youth volunteers, that means that they processed 50 loads an hour. That's a little less than one vehicle a minute. Or a little bit more than, less than one vehicle a minute. We collected a total of 28 tons of material. 17 of those tons were recycled or donated. And you all had a 63% diversion rate. That is outstanding. Other waste haulers, when they submit their reports, and even when I submit it for other cities, I'm always hoping for that 50%. And you all achieved 63% with this particular event. And I was just over the moon when I saw that data. Also, free trash disposal, that was 10 tons of the material. We collected 12 cubic yards of clothing and household items. And what was really exciting this year, and what we're going to be doing going forward, is we have now coordinated our cleanup event dates with South County Animal Rescue. They, on this particular weekend, they moved their event this weekend to coordinate with our cleanup event at our request. And so if, instead of taking our items to various locations we take for donations, we rerouted them to their South County Animal Rescue Goodwill fundraiser, which was over at the California Gourmet Pizza. And so that helped them fill their truck in order to get a donation too. So that was really exciting.
Awesome.
Do I need to stop talking?
Okay.
Okay. So we also had safe disposal of 1,200 pounds of household hazardous waste. Next slide. My favorite part is the community service. This is where I really want to talk up here to the end. The Soledad High School NJROTC, we do provide them with a $500 donation for their service to the community. And I cannot say enough good things about these young people. They are the best youth group that I work with. They not only show up on time, they're there before I get there. And that really means a lot to me, that they are ready to work. They are organized. They have all of their volunteer waivers available, signed, ready to go. They work with a glad heart, and they always do more than is asked of them. You can see in this example, the young lady and the young man, I only asked them to just kind of keep an eye on the compost area so that no one would take my shovels. And they actually spent the whole day loading up for the residents their containers, their buckets, helping them carry it to their vehicles. They were just a prime example of servants with a glad heart. So that was a really wonderful thing. So some residents can't make these events, or they don't want to wait in line, or it's not convenient for them. So I just like to point out to you, no problem. We have lots of other things that you can do to get rid of your items in a convenient way. One is the Tri-Cities bulky item collection service. This is a very popular service, and I think it's the best one in the valley because we offer a collection by appointment only, up to 5 items, up to 10 times per year. So if you need to get rid of some stuff or you want to clean out your garage, this is a great service. You may have to wait a week or two to get your appointment because it is a very popular program, but please take advantage of it. I also want to mention that there are many items that are always free at the landfill. It's another reason why illegal dumping is ridiculous because there are so many things that are free at the Gonzales landfill. And those are all the items that we see dumped out on the back roads. Finally, if you have hazardous materials, there are 3 locations to drop off items such as antifreeze, batteries, oil, and paint. At the landfill in Gonzales, at Holone Road in King City, and they have a full household hazardous waste on Madison Lane in Salinas. So final slide, thank you to our partners. Thank you to Salinas Valley Recycles. We could not do it without them. Save the Whales not only does the work for the city of Soledad, but then their CSUMB volunteers stay after and they sort through all of our clothing and get it all ready for donations, making sure it's the right quality and that everything matches up. Monterey County Environmental Health does a fantastic job with the free oil filter exchange program. And they also just jump in and help people. If it's slow on oil filter exchanges, they're right in there with the kids unloading vehicles. So they're fantastic. And finally, my biggest amount of gratitude goes to the NJROTC and Pete Gomez. We have been doing this work now for 9 years together, and they have provided almost 1,100 service hours to the community. And they make this event what it is, and I could not do it without them. So if you have any questions or comments, I'm here to answer them at this time.
No, thank you so much, Maury, and I really appreciate all of your support and thank you, because I know Tri-Cities has been really instrumental in terms of all the different services that it provides. So thank you for also noting for our community members, all the other services that come with the contract with Tri-Cities and, you know, all the different ways that you can still dispose of things even after the cleanup, right? So I think that's something that's important for our community members to note. So I think we gave more time because item 1 and 2 are kind of wrapped together. So as you noted, I think the other thing that was important for me as well, because as you said, NJROTC has been instrumental. And since I can remember being a councilwoman and a mayor and going to events, whether it be at the beginning or at the end, right? They're always there, and they're always there with the smile on their face. And it can be at the end of the day when everybody's exhausted, but they're still there with a smile on their face. And it's just amazing. So I wanted an opportunity as this council to be able to recognize them for the work that they've done and recognize you as well for coordinating this year after year and making it really successful. I've heard so many great things when I was out in the community I love garage sales anyways. So it was a great day. And so many people were like, let's do this like more than, you know, let's do this all the time. Because the city do this all the time.
I'm
because-
sorry, my limit is 2.
Because they wanted more, because it's such a great event, right? So it was just a testament of that. But I think and also an opportunity to recognize our NJROTC. And I think that was the second portion of this, of the recognition. And I know Captain Pete Gomez is here, and to accept that recognition on behalf of the students as well and the cadets, because they're amazing. I mean, what you've been able to accomplish with the school and the support of, the school district with Captain Pete Gomez and all of the team. I mean, these kids they're an example and a model, and they're, our Soledad superstars, right? I know we've recognized them in other occasions, but they continue to really shine and really foster what our youth are here in Soledad. So it's really amazing. So with that, I'm going to pause for a bit because that's our second portion of the recognition. But let me just open it up to see if any of the councils if the council have any questions, and I'll start with Councilmember Cabrera.
No, this was fantastic job that you guys did. Thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you. I'll keep mine short, but just wanted to say thank you for all your help, Maureen. I know I've seen you working with businesses, I've seen you working with, children, but I think a lot of why you see the smiles on their faces, I have my iPad on the photo of the NJROTC and they're smiling as they're carrying heavy, things. I think it's due to the leadership that they have, and I think that's a reflection of you, because you can tell you genuinely, love your job. Like when I've seen you do presentations, you're passionate about the environment, and it's contagious, so thank you, and also, of course, to Captain Gomez, thank you also for the work that you do, and of course, Randy as well. Thanks.
One quick question. You mentioned on one of your slides, it's 63% diversion rate. Can you explain that to me?
Sure, great
Yeah.
question. So, our goal there is to send the least amount of trash to the landfill. So everything from metal to appliances to clothing, all of those items get added up. Those are diverted away from the landfill. So they actually go to recycling. So the mattresses are recycled, the appliances are broken down for scrap metal. All of those items do not go into the landfill. So 63% of what we received that day did not go into the landfill.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And another thing too is, thank you guys for the collaboration and partnering up and bringing it to light. And, I want to echo what you mentioned about Captain Gomez and the troop, because I always see the structure and then being there on time. And, it's because of the reflection of Captain Gomez and the leaders in there. And I appreciate that. And again, echoing what everyone said here, I mean, it's more to come. So I'm excited and thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, so with that, if you can stay up there and if we can bring Captain Gomez up to the podium.
Say something.
And Randy as well. So we want to make sure we present this certificate of appreciation. This is our second item on our council presentations, and I'm just gonna just read this really briefly, but this is a presentation on behalf of the city council to the NJROTC Soledad High School. On behalf of the Soledad City Council, we'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude for the countless hours, and we heard that was 11,000. 1,100, okay, 1,100 service hours of gratitude dedicated to supporting the annual Soledad Reuse, Recycle, and Cleanup Day. Thank you for your support to Soledad residents. Soledad residents had a single location to drop off items to be disposed off or donated. Thank you for your exceptional contributions to the safety and improvement on for our city. And this is awarded on today's date, which is October 23rd. 2024. So on behalf of the city of Soledad, our city council, thank you so much for all the work that you do. And please extend a heartfelt thank you to the cadets, because they're just amazing. And thank you for your leadership as well, Captain Gomez, and everything that you do. And also all of your other, all the other staff also, that just is amazing to be able to support the cadets and really be able to provide them with those leadership skills that they need to be able to make us proud and to be able to really demonstrate those leadership skills. So, and thank you to Randy and school district for having this amazing program that I know it's renowned and nationally recognized for what we've been able to do here in Soledad. I say we because we're part of it's a partnership. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to pause for a minute to take a photo, but if you'd like to say a few words.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Come on, Captain, come on.
And when I got here to Soledad, the ROTC program was falling apart. The mindset of families, they thought that if you join ROTC, you're gonna go to the military. That's one thing that, my vision was to change it, because the ROTC program is a citizen development program. It teaches the kids the self-discipline for them to become our community support, personal responsibility, and service to our community. So with the leadership traits that we teach in the military, the kids are learning a lot about leadership and how to stand on their own and how to lead their peers. So ROTC is normally supposed to be a cadet run program with the leadership of the instructors to guide them and lead them to success. We've been very successful over the years. We have kids at the Naval Academy. We got kids that graduated from the University of Maine. We got kids that are at Norwich University in Vermont. And we have another kid, one of your employees has a son at the school in Newport, Rhode Island. So these kids, they're hungry. They wanna please their parents. These parents, they're in the agricultural business. This is the first time kids are going to college. And our program puts a foundation for them to start from there. And, we've had kids, my best success stories is when I read the comments of behavioral when they're in the middle school and I'm picking them up as freshmen. And I purposely teach freshmen. And I love them when I go in November, which is next month. I'm taking all my kids that had bad behavior in the middle school back to the middle school to show the middle school the change of the transformation of the new cadets. And I get a lot of praises from the teachers from the middle school. So, wow, you actually changed. You had changed. Look at you. You look good. Haircuts, uniform, look straight. And this is what pleases me, that the kids are transitioning to become young adults, that there is a future for these young kids. And I'm very thankful that we have a very support staff from the district. They support us in anything that we need. They support us. We have great counselors that support our program. They change our schedules for the kids to put them in the program. So the community itself is very supportive of the program. That is the reason why it makes my job easier by having the support from the city and the school district. So thank you to all of you for helping us.
Thank you. We'll take we'll pause.
Yeah, if you can pause.
So we'll move on to our next items on our agenda, which is the consent item. So for today, we have 4 consent agenda items. So at this time, we're gonna ask if there's any members of the council that wish to pull any item from the consent calendar for discussion or comment. Okay, seeing none, then do any members of the public wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion or comment? Seeing none here, any in Zoom? Okay, seeing none, then I will entertain a motion to approve item C-1 through C-4.
So
Okay, so I have a first from Mayor Pro Tem Corralejo and a second from Councilmember Cabrera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so motion carries. Thank you.
Mayor, I did want to note, that our city attorney is online, so if you do have any questions throughout our agenda tonight, you can ask him any questions.
Okay, thank you for noting that.
Not any question, but most questions.
Okay, Mike, any questions, he said, so we're holding.
Any legal
We're
questions?
holding Megan to that.
I'm already writing a couple of them.
All right.
Okay, so thank you for that. So we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is a public hearing. So at this time, we do have a public hearing for resolution number 6166, a resolution of the city council of the city of Soledad approving the submittal of the community development block grant application under the 2024 funding cycle. So the public hearing will receive the staff report, then we'll open the public hearing, and then we'll close the public hearing, and then we'll bring it back for council action, and then we'll conclude. So I will turn it over to Beatriz Trujillo, who will provide us with the staff report.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Beatriz Trujillo. I'm the housing analyst, and today I'm here to present the CDBG grant application. But with me is Susan Long. She's our new consultant, and she's been a great addition to our team. We were able to put this application together so timely is because Susan has been very helpful in putting this together. So she's gonna walk us through the presentation, but I wanted to make sure that I introduce her.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As mentioned, I'm Susan Long. I seen you on the video at one time, but now you get to see me in real life person. So we're talking about the 24 CDBG application. We came to you in August for our first public hearing to notify you that funding was going to be available and what the different application opportunities were at that time. Now that the application was released, or the NOFA, I should say, was released, we began working on those items that we had been brought before you and then directed to move forward on. For your information, the city is eligible under the Small Cities Program for CDBG funds, which means that you go through the state of California to receive federal funding. It is administered by the California Department of Housing and Community Development. This year's NOFA has a total of $34 million of funds available, and all applications must meet state objectives, which are benefit to low and moderate income persons, aid in the preservation or elimination of slum blight, and meet certain urgent needs. So when we came to you in August, we presented basically this chart, but this has been updated with what we thought was going to be coming before you, which was community facility and homebuyer assistance application is what we were recommending. But we thought at that time that the limits for funding were going to be like $500,000 per activity. That was not the case, which was great. The NOFA came out and the limits were much higher, which means we get to make much bigger impact. The community facilities application will be for $2.1 million, which will aid in all of the improvements. And the city is eligible for that activity because 51% of the population is considered low income, which is 80% of median of the book. It's okay, the homebuyer assistance program, the maximum assistance that you can go after is 1.5 million. That is significant because now we might be able to assist 4 to 6 families versus 1 or 2. That's very great, and it's a great way to get started back in providing those housing assistance services to your community. It's always a little disappointing if you only have a little bit of money to help one person. It's hard to get things off the ground, so this is a great opportunity. Again, this is available for households with incomes below 80% of median. can change it to new fund. So as a part of this grant, the total grant is for $3.6 million. 7% of those funds will come to the city in the way of general administration funds. Those funds aid the city in handling all the grant management, attending trainings, office hours, things of that nature, even looking at next year's NOFA, excuse me. It is not, general admin funds do not have to be used for project-specific activities. It is really the overarching general management of the grant, okay? And the contract terms about 30 to 36 months. The Homebuyer Assistance Program, the total funds that will actually go to the program is $1.4 million. The reason that it's less than the 1.5 that I just spoke about is because that general admin portion comes off the top. Okay, so that difference of about $99,000 roughly is general admin funds. This program will provide gap financing for home buyers that are able to qualify for a primary mortgage with a lender and to ensure that their housing is affordable. And what we consider to be affordable is 35% of their gross monthly income, it shouldn't exceed that. So the funding, what it does is, if, just for an example, a household purchases a home for, we'll say go for $600,000 and they only qualify for $305, then they have a huge gap. They have about $295,000 gap. And that's where the city comes in and they provide that gap financing as a silent second, which means there's no payments on that loan for the term of 45 years. The activity delivery is, so a portion of that 1.4 million can be used to administer the activity itself. So because you're doing qualifying of households, you're underwriting loans, those type of things, that's an expense also that you incur in staffing. That is also covered by the grant and it comes out of that 1.4 as well. The second activity being applied for is the community center. The community center will be undergoing some additional renovations with $1.961 million in funding. It will include the purchase and installation of equipment, site improvements, permits, general contractor labor costs. Again, there is activity delivery involved in this portion as well. So that will aid for city oversight and making sure that contracts are written and overseeing labor compliance, weekly payroll reviews, those types of things. And then the remaining funds roughly the cost estimate currently is about $1.5 million for the repairs. So there is a little bit of a buffer and that may be used for staffing or it could just be used to pay for if, as we all know, costs keep going up. So hopefully we can get that job done for that 1.5, but there is some buffer there. Okay. That's really the grant application. Now the actual opening of the grant submittal is next week on Wednesday, the 29th. At that time, the portal will open. We've been gathering all of the information and doing a lot of the drafting of the application for weeks now. Go in and we'll upload all of that information into the portal. That'll be reviewed prior to being submitted on the city's behalf. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you for the report. So what we'll do at this time, before we go into questions, let me open it up to the public. So I just, the PowerPoint, can we get a copy of those PowerPoints as part of our report because we didn't have it. And I think that's easier for us to kind of understand as opposed, I mean, you gave us the information, but in the future, can we please get a copy of those presentations, please? Okay, so at this point, then let me open up the public hearing. And so I open up the public hearing at 6:51. So at this time, any members of the public that have any questions in regards to the presentation that was provided for resolution number 6166, any members of the public have any questions? Okay, see none of those that are joining us here in the chambers, any members of the public that are joining us via Zoom? Okay, see none, there's no comment, so I will close the public comment. I will close the public hearing 6:52, and I will bring it now back to the council for any council questions on resolution number 6166, and I will start with Councilwoman Bañuelos.
Thank you for the presentation, ladies, and also for all the statistics that came forth to us. Just a question, if you can explain to me so that way I can be transparent to, our residents. Let's just say, we do have this grant approved. How can they make that connection? How can they qualify or, reach out to that?
So for
What can I
the,
say to them?
for the homebuyer program, there will be a marketing plan that will be developed. That's one of the part of the process. And then it will be advertised throughout the community. I'm hoping we can have a town hall. We haven't actually got to talk about this yet, but have like a town hall meeting that not only for the residents, but it's also very good to incorporate local realtors and lending agents because they often help sell the program. So that they can learn and understand how the program operates as well. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that big kickoff.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. Mayor Pro Tem Corralejo.
Yes, thank you also for the presentation. Sorry, I was gonna say, I like the mayor, I also would love to get that presentation, the slideshow. I think it's just more visually appealing. It's, when I go to a restaurant, I am the one that wants the pictures. So I could see what it looks like. But I was going to say, I honestly, I hope that we are awarded this because I know that it's something that our community needs and that they have been asking for. And we see that housing is such a we're just at a critical point, I think, not just in Soledad, but in our whole country. And so I really, want to thank you for your efforts to help our community out with that. I think my only question is, I know that this Wednesday is going to be, the grant is going to be submitted. What is the date that we're expecting, notification of the awards?
That's always a difficult thing to say because the state operates on their own timeline. They are expecting to have standard agreements out around the first of the year. So we may know by the December, January in there.
Okay. Okay, I believe that's the only question that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
I have one. I actually have a comment. That was especially inspiring to see that we can get this, but what are our chances of getting it? Based on the information that we have and the requirements and everything, what do you think that we could?
I'm glad you asked that question because that's something I probably should have said. This is actually an over-the-counter application, which means that it's not competitive. So the timing is crucial because the sooner we get it in, the money is still there, we can get funded. You have eligible projects, we're meeting all of the requirements necessary for it to be funded. So getting it in as soon as possible is key to ensuring there's funds available to fund the city.
Thank you for having everything ready for Wednesday.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I have just a couple of questions in terms of you talked about the marketing plan. I think that's really important. So I think I'm not sure whether that was part of the guidelines that were presented to us or not, but if we can have a timeline, we can have really, I mean, for me, I know the marketing plan, the timeline is really important. So we have a solid plan with timelines of when we're gonna do this. I think that's really critical for our community. And then also that the marketing plan also includes, because I know we've talked about this as part of our housing element, and I know we've talked about the first-time homebuyer program as well. So thank you for submitting this application, because I think it goes into some of the goals that we've submitted to the state as part of our housing plan. But the other piece of that was also to support our residents, because we know that the financial component of them getting ready financially to be able to be first-time home buyers has been a struggle. And so I want to make sure that our marketing plan contains that piece of it as well. That I know we have 4 to 6 families, but that we also look at how do we extend our plan to include other families that maybe we know it's 4 to 6, but that we have a pool of more families that we can work with in case they're not ready, and then that we can have those other families, a pool of families that are ready when we have more opportunities for this to happen, or that we can apply for another grant, and that we have them already financially ready to be able to get their loans for this. So I really want to make sure that that's included, since that is part of the plan in our housing element. And then on the letters of support, have we reached out to our local legislators, especially at the state level, to give us a letter of support for this application?
We have not, but the reason is that that's not really a component of this application. We have to identify who the legislators are in the application itself, but they do not. They get a lot of paperwork. They don't really ask for letters of support. If it was a competitive application, it would be different. But because it's not competitive, there is no letters of support.
So it doesn't carry any weight?
No
weight.
No, it doesn't.
It's like a first come, first serve.
Yeah, it's a first come, first serve at this point. Now, if we were going in for a project that was multi-million dollars, absolutely, we would want letters of support.
Okay.
Because it's what those applications are rated and ranked. So not only do you need to hit the points, but you need to be able to show the need and the support.
Are you submitting it to HCD?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think it would still be beneficial, Megan, if we can still get something to say, hey, the city of Soledad is submitting an application to HCD. It's not competitive, but just so at least the senator is aware of it.
We should.
So
we
that
can
way,
do that.
and we can send it off to the director. I think it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we could do that. Okay. And then does our guidelines, I know we didn't attach it to the application. I had talked to Megan, because we already had approved it the last time. We approved the application. Obviously, I know it's a big application and, but I think the guidelines that we had approved last time, maybe the people that were in the last meeting are not in this meeting. So I think it's important that we have it somewhere attached to the application when we do these public hearings, so people understand what the guidelines are, because we are submitting for this first-time homebuyer program, and we did approve guidelines already. So I think for transparency purposes, I think it's important that we attach the documents that we are approving and submitting for approval. And then that we have it somewhere in our website, like here are the guidelines, here's what we're gonna be, requesting for people to be prepared, or here's the qualifications. I think that's gonna be really important. And then I don't remember, but maybe you can help me to remember on the guidelines. Did we have conflict of interest for those guidelines? Because I want to make sure that there's like conflict of interest. Council members we can't be one of those 6 applicants, right?
Correct.
I want to make sure that,
Yes,
the money
conflict
here
of
is really
interest
to
is
benefit our
addressed.
families, and
It is
so,
addressed.
okay, perfect. Thank you. I wanted it to be clear, we want to make sure.
That's a given. Yeah, especially in a small town, right?
Exactly, that's the benefit. I know we all, but I think the benefit is really for our residents. So, well, that's it. Thank you so much. I think, thank you. I hope that we are awarded thank you for, this is massive for us in terms of what the city needs on both sections. I know the community center needs a lot of money, but at some point, we also have to look at the other facilities that we have, to be able to look at our city hall and our police department and our fire department, and how do we also look at what we need there as well. So, okay, so with that then, I will entertain, if there's no additional questions, I'll entertain a motion from the council to approve resolution 6165.
Second.
So I have a motion on the floor, a second by Councilwoman Banuelos, and a second by Councilmember Cabrera. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so resolution number 6165 passes,
6160.
I think.
Oh, sorry, I was like, I was already ahead of myself, 6166. Passes unanimously with 4 and 1 absence. Okay. So we'll move on then to our next item, which is our items of business, and so, yes.
Sorry, before we move on, because when you read it, you said, resolution 6165, can we double check with Mike if we need to redo that vote again?
I don't think so. I said 6166 and there was already,
I heard you say 65 unless somebody heard something different.
it was 6165, but I went back to say 6166 and they made the motion, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
the motion
I-
is for 6165.
I think we're fine. It's correctly noticed or labeled on the agenda, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's move on then. We'll go on to business item resolution number 6165. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad approving and authorizing the city manager to execute an affordable housing agreement between the City of Soledad and Soledad Unified School District for the workforce housing project located at 500 Monterey Street. So we have a staff report on this, and so I will turn it over to
Beatrice again.
to Beatrice.
Beatrice again.
Okay, I will turn it over to Beatrice Trujillo.
Thank you. And I just want to acknowledge that we have representatives from the school district. We have the superintendent Randy, and we also have two more people in Zoom, Marlon and Sarah. So if there are any questions that are pertaining to the school district staff or team, we can address the questions with them.
Okay, who is it?
Marlon,
Marlon
and Sarah.
and Sarah.
Mhm.
Okay,
And I apologize, this is another attachment that did not make it to the packet. But this is something that the ad hoc committee had already seen, so it's not gonna be very similar. So this is the proposed affordable housing agreement for the school district. And this is a little bit of background on the project. So this project came about in partnership with the school district in big part because of Measure N. That Measure N was passed in 2020. And that was passed by the school district, and it authorized the usage of a little over $13 million in bonds for district improvements, and they decided that they were gonna try to do this workforce housing project. So we partnered with the school district as the redevelopment agency and as the city council, because we had 3 lots, one of them owned by the city and the other 2 owned by the redevelopment agency. We decided that we were gonna sell these lots to the district so that they could build the housing in those 3 lots. So those are the lots in the intersection of 500 Monterey Street, and we are currently under escrow. We hope to close that escrow relatively soon in the next upcoming weeks, so that we can officially transfer the sites to the school district.
If I may, Mayor, just a little update. We're hoping to close escrow before the end of the month, because that's when our agreement terminates, and we did get all taxing entities to approve the sale. So the last was the Board of Supervisors and the Water District, which occurred on Tuesday, yesterday. It's yesterday. So, thanks.
Yeah, so that was the main reason why escrow stayed open, because we were waiting for response from the tax entities. But we should be in track now. So the city approval for this portion of this project, this is a big project that involves other departments when we talk about construction. But when we talk about the affordable housing agreement, the approvals that we did that impacted this agreement were the density bonus. So we did authorize, the city council authorized the density bonus for the project, which increased the number of units that they would produce, and that impacts the number of affordable housing units that they need to allocate. And the other thing that council will need to approve is the affordable housing agreement, which is the draft that was attached to this item. In this draft with minor changes was presented to the ad hoc committee back in August. And it was supported by both committee members, which is Mayor Pro Tem and our mayor. So the meat of this agreement is on how the affordable unit distribution. Usually by the inclusionary ordinance, we will require this project to have 3 affordable units. And those affordable units will be in the very low, and moderate income, 1 each. The difference here is that the school district will be providing 2 very low income units, 0 low and 1 moderate. That project by default is gonna be somewhat affordable for the workforce, but these 3 units will be restricted. The affordability term was impacted by the density bonus. So because we granted a density bonus, it went from 45 years to 55 years, which is the other highlight from the draft agreement. And the financial consideration is that in addition to the sales proceeds estimated to be around $97,000. The school district is also providing close to $29,000 to support the city's affordable housing efforts. And the approval of this agreement will support the city's affordable housing and our RHNA goals. But otherwise, this agreement does not constitute an additional financial impact to the city. And with that, this is the recommendation that you have on the staff report, but I'll just read it to you so that it's in front of us. The recommendation is the recommendation is that the city council of the city of Soledad considers and approves the resolution number 6165, approving and authorizing the city manager to execute an affordable housing agreement between the city of Soledad and the Soledad Unified School District for the workforce housing project located at 500 Monterey Street. And with that, I'm here to answer any questions or if you have any comments for us.
Okay, thank you, Beatriz, for that report. And again, yes, please make sure that we get those slides.
It's my intent. This one I was a little behind schedule and I wanted to make sure that the agenda was posted and that I wasn't holding it back, but it was on me that I was delayed on creating this
Yeah,
presentation.
if we get them after the fact, I think it helps.
I'll email them. Yeah.
Okay, so let me take it out to the public to see if we have any comments from the public in regards to business item resolution number 6165. Do we have any members from the public that wish to make a comment? And I see Superintendent Baines wishes to make a comment.
We'll keep it short. Mayor Velasquez, City Council, honored to be able to address you. Appreciative of city staff as we worked on this project for many months. Canoe, we appreciate Beatriz Trujillo, as well as Mayor Hunter and other staff, and then our team working together. This is the milestone for us. We've been getting these check boxes done and more frequently now, as Ms. Hunter identified. We now have entities that have approved that, which is another big step. So we work through various stages of pre-construction process, designing, finalizing the affordable housing agreement as indicated tonight, from the merge of 3 parcels. And so it's a big step for us, and it moves us closer to provide affordable housing for our teachers and staff. And it will include classified staff as well as teachers, as a recruitment and retention. And that's a win for the Soledad community, as it means teachers that come here, do a great job, stay here, and can afford to become part of this wonderful community. So we appreciate the opportunity to continue working together, and we look forward to hopefully breaking ground on this very soon. So thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments? Okay, so let me see if there's anyone on Zoom that'd like to make any comments on this item. No? Okay, yeah, thank you. I know it's taken a while, but I'm glad that we're finally here at this stage, Randy, in terms of what's needed with the agreement and all the other pieces and nuances that were part of this whole process, so I'm glad. So let me open it up then if, let me bring it back to the council to see if there's any questions, and I'll start with Councilmember Cabrera.
No questions, but I want to thank everybody for all the work. We've been, almost a year with this, or a little bit more maybe. And I think it's there's a lot of work, a lot of reading back and forward, and we finally getting ready to start this. And thank you so much for the work and the patience to do this job.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Corrales.
Yes, no questions, but just a comment. I wanted to thank staff and also thank the district as well. But most importantly, I really wanted to just thank our voters, because this is something that the voters passed. I remember voting for this myself back in 2020. And you know, to me, I have educators in my family, and my late mother-in-law was an educator. And so I really saw the value in it, not just, you know, there's obviously different, you know, different benefits to this, and it's obviously for the teachers and the staff that are gonna benefit from this affordable housing. But I, you know, believe that it comes around, it's a benefit to our community to have teachers that are invested and staff that are invested in our community. And, you know, this at the end of the day is gonna benefit our children. So I am so happy that we're finally at this point. Thank you, everyone that was involved.
Thank you. Councilwoman Venegas?
I have a question. So I would just want to be transparent, like, you know, they're gonna see construction soon. And just to be, you know, kind of share to the public and the community, you know, it's only solely for our teachers, because, you know, there is a need for teachers here, correct?
And for school district employees, correct? Not
Yes.
necessarily teachers, it will be somebody else, as long as they're working for the school district.
Okay, the reason why I say this is because I want to make sure I tell them, like, well, get involved with the community, you know, and be, you know, come to our meetings and stuff. So, but thank you so much for the slide, and thank you, Mr. Banks, for, you know, supporting as well. And Beatrice, you do a lot, and I really applaud you, and thank you for everyone that assisted you with it too, Canoe. But with that said, just one other question is, we don't have a timeline, like a turnaround, right? Like, when are we gonna start, you know, breaking ground?
Maybe that's a question, a combination of a question for Canoe, and I don't know if Marlon, if he has a desired timeline. I know the city can interfere with that timeline because of our processes, but maybe this is a two people answer.
Yes. So, good evening, Mayor and council members. Canoe Yang, Community Economic Development Director. So we are very excited about this project, and one of the things that the city did in collaboration with the school district is that we are actually in the process of reviewing at-risk plan reviews for the actual building. So I'm hoping that once the title gets changed over to the school district, we're able to do the lot merger as quickly as possible, which still requires a process. And by a process, I'm hoping to do it quicker than I normally would in regards of reviewing it. And then once the merger is done, I think we are very close to possibly also issuing a building permit right after the merger. So I can't actually give you like a timeline in regards of dates, but I will say that we have taken care of majority of the things that would take long for us to review. We already done all the preliminary and at-risk plan checks for the construction of the actual site.
Thank you so much for being proactive.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I just want to,
And
Oh.
I don't know if Marlon
Marlon?
wants to add anything. Marlon, if you want to add anything, raise your hand so that we can unmute you.
I'm here. Can Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Marlon Just Vargas with Education Housing Partners. We are the development consultant that have been working with the district so far. In regards to the previous question, I don't think I have anything to add to Kanu's response. Yes, the lot merger, the sale, completion of the sale was a key part of the process. Then the lot merger, having the affordable housing agreement finalized, and then the building permits. Once all that is complete, once all that is completed, then we should be able to break ground.
Okay, thank you for that. So we'll keep updated in terms of the timeline of when that's gonna happen. I know this process started like maybe 3-4 years ago. So it started a while ago in terms of the discussion. So I'm thankful that we're at this point, right, Randy, in terms of moving forward with this and a lot of discussion. So, and I'm glad, so just as was said, I think it's just, we want to be really clear that it's not just for teachers only, that it's for city employees. Obviously, the thought process is to ensure that we can retain, I mean, for staff, for school staff. What did I say, employees? Oh, city employees. Because that was a discussion that we wanted for it to be city employees, was part of the lengthy discussion in the past 4 years. But it's for city employees, and I think for school employees, for school employees. And I have to say, for me, I have a niece that's an English teacher at Main Street Middle School, and I know she left Soledad for a bit because she couldn't find anything here. And I know it's the same for many of our school teachers or employees, right? That they leave because they can't find the housing. I'm thankful she's back and she was able to rent something here, but hopefully this is, 20 units that can support our school employees. But just, I want to be clear in terms of what this means for us as a city in terms of the affordable units, that we do have 3 affordable units that are part of what we have under a density bonus and inclusionary as part of what the city has instituted as part of our rules, to ensure that developments that come into our city, we do have a set aside to ensure that there is those affordable units as was said today. So those 3 units will remain affordable for 55 years. And I just want to be clear because I know that the school district will be holding a lottery portion of it, and that's under section 4.03 of the affordable, of the development agreement. And so the school district will undertake that process, and I just want to be clear that they'll do a good faith effort, but in the event that they're not able to, if I'm reading that correctly, then the affordable units may thereafter be marketed to public at large at the affordable rates reference in section 4.01. So can you clarify that for me? Because I want to make sure that there's a process that these units will make sure that these units are going to be for the affordability levels that we designated.
Yes, and I might need a little bit of support from Mike here, but my understanding is that we were trying to leave some wiggle room in case that the people living in an affordable unit exceed the income limits, that they can stay there. But then in a different section, we talk about the district substituting the unit for a new one that they mark as affordable. So it's with the intent to not have to evict anyone if there's another unit that becomes available to then be affordable.
Oh, okay, got it. So because we don't want to displace anyone.
We don't want to displace anyone because it's already, people that live in this project can only make up to 160% of the AMI. So the idea is that if a family is slightly over income, we don't want the family to have to leave their housing arrangements. We will work around finding another unit that is within the affordability cap, that within the two categories, low and moderate, the district will identify another unit as soon as it becomes available. It's more like rotating to make sure that we don't evict someone just because they're slightly over income.
Okay, got it. So that helps. I just want to make sure that we have that, because I know that there's been instances where that can, and who's gonna be, who's going to be overseeing and doing the compliance of these units on an annual basis from the city? Will that be you?
That will be me, yeah.
Okay.
So we will be creating the monitoring program. The district will also be submitting their marketing plan to us, to me. So that will be part of our role.
Okay, okay, good. I just want to make sure, because I know, you know, the importance of having these development agreements and the importance of designating these units are so we make sure that those units are affordable for that length of time and that they serve that population. And I just want to make sure we have a mechanism where we oversee that and that those units do remain affordable.
I think Randy might have something.
We will be putting in place a housing board, it'll be an independent entity, which will oversee and connect and make sure that, we're checking the right boxes and, and be compliant with the Affordable Housing Agreement, and they'll have their own board, so it'll be separate from the district. Also wanted to say I was remiss in also acknowledging our board of trustees have been entirely supportive through this process of this time as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Okay, thank you for that, Beatriz, and thank you for clarifying that. Having done monitoring when I was at the city, I know that. So that's why I know sometimes I know how important it is to be able to do that process, and sometimes it's not done because it takes a lot. So as long as we have a mechanism in place, and we're gonna monitor that. Yeah. Okay. Those are all my questions. Well, thank you very much. I know it's been a long time coming, and I'm excited to see the project come to fruition, and thank you. And I think it'll be one of many. I know that the discussion happened here many years ago, but it's exciting to see that throughout California, you have a lot more of the discussions happening with a lot of these teacher housing projects happening throughout. So exciting to see that. Okay, council, so with that, then if there's no additional questions, then I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 6165.
So moved.
Okay, so again,
6165.
yes, 6165, a resolution of the city council of the city of Soledad approving and authorizing the city manager to execute an affordable housing agreement. So with that, then I have a motion on the floor, and it was first by Mayor Pro Tem Corralejo and a second by Councilmember Cabrera, correct? Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Okay, so the motion carries on a 4-1 with one absent. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on. Thank you so much. Thank you, Randy. And I know you have to stay because you have the second item. So move on then to item number 3, which is resolution number 6167. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad approving and authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Soledad Unified School District for the sale, purchase, and delivery of recycled water. And I will give it over to our Public Works Director, Don.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Don Wilcox, Public Works Director, City Engineer for Soledad. As Council is aware, last year the city was awarded a grant to design and construct a recycled water system throughout the city to provide city parks and school district athletic fields with recycled water, so that we're not drawing from the potable aquifer, and we're also drought proof. So if the droughts come back and you can't irrigate ball fields and turf with potable water, you can still use recycled water. So you have beneficial use of those facilities. So within the grant application, the city was the lead, and we were awarded the project to construct all the facilities needed to irrigate the parks and the school district properties, and the grant will pay 100% of it. In order to fulfill the grant, we need to provide 165 acre feet per year, which is roughly 54 million gallons per year. And so we have to have the school district properties as well as the city properties all on board to do that. So it's time to do a more formal agreement. The school district wrote a letter of support with the grant application. That collaboration, I'm sure, really helped in the award. And then we made a presentation to the school board at their district meeting in May of 2024. The district board showed support, the students, the teachers, superintendent, everybody is on board with this, but this next step is to more semi-formalize the agreement to purchase the water. One of the conditions that we agreed to and support is that the water will be at least 10% less costly than potable water, since they're gonna make the switch. Some of their facilities are irrigated with wells. Well water might be cheaper than potable, so will be at least 10% less expensive for recycled water than potable. And we do have to go through the Prop 218 process to establish the rates. And since the project is grant funded, there's no bond or capital to repay, the rates certainly could be less than that, even more than 10% less than potable. So staff recommends that council approve the form and the terms of the attached memorandum of understanding with the school district for the sale, purchase, and delivery of recycled water. And happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for the report. So let me take it out to the public to see if there's any members of the public that have any questions on this item. So any questions from the members of the public? Okay, seeing none, then I'll take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. Any members of the public joining us via Zoom? Okay, seeing none, then I'll bring it back to the council and I'll start with Councilwoman Briones.
Thank you, Don, for your presentation. I want to just be transparent, you know, I speak to my community, so I know they're gonna say recycled water, it's like, why? Can you explain to me what the benefit is for recycled water?
Certainly. So all the water that we use roughly 3 million gallons per day in the city, and 1 million goes to irrigation, about 2 goes to the water reclamation facility. That water goes through 3 steps and is disinfected and has a chlorine residual, and it's available to use for landscape irrigation. This use is a 1-for-1. So for every 1 million gallons we use recycled water, reclaimed water, some people call it, we're drawing 1 million gallon less out of the ground. So as far as preserving a natural resource, you can't get much better than that. And once the project's completed and fully running, as I mentioned, we'll save about 54 million gallons per year.
I know that they might ask me if it's safe to drink.
It's not something that we're ready to promote as potable water. And incidental contact is fine. It does have a chlorine residual, but it's perfectly fine and permitted. We're the first in the Tri-County area to do it on parks and ball fields and things like that, but other areas of the state, they have it at houses. They have 2 spigots at their house. They use it in even less quality than what we're producing. So it's widely used in California and throughout the world. Ours is one of the cleaner varieties, and it's disinfected as well. So it's safe to use for the purpose of irrigation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Corralejo.
This is for questions?
We'll both, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions. I think this has come by before. But just again, excited to see, you know, another good collaboration with the school district.
Councilmember Cabrera?
What would it take that water to be able to drink?
So Monterey One Water does promote theirs. I drank it on a tour up there. Takes one more step, basically reverse osmosis. They call it advanced treatment.
Do we have that in our plan?
We do not. That is something that's probably in our future, because the rest of the water, we're using 160, we're using 54 million gallons a year. For this project, we have another 700 plus million gallons a year that we're recharging into the superficial aquifer. If we could put it into the deep aquifer, then it's a direct reuse, and that's what Monterey One Water is doing. So if we did that 4-step, we could go to that level of treatment and complete reuse.
Awesome.
Something in the future, huh?
That would help everybody because it would push it more potable towards the peninsula areas that are suffering from seawater intrusion. And so I think as a regional, as part of the GSA, we're having discussions with them. Someday Soledad and the other South County cities will treat to that standard so they can recharge and recover.
Let's dream a little bit, how much it will cost?
I don't have that information, even a ballpark, WAG we call it, but as we did have discussions with the GSA, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, we'll get those kind of numbers and share them.
You could have that for a future discussion item.
Yeah, but do you think that they have some sort of a grants that we can start looking into?
Not only a grant, other entities and agencies need recharge so much that they would benefit from it and potentially cover the cost.
So, yeah, and that could be a future discussion item because I know that's something
That's a big,
item. And so we'll put it for another item. I've drank the water as well and
we're here.
we're here.
I drank the Flint water and I'm still here.
Good. But it is, I mean.
Just so you know, water from Mexico City.
We're here, right? Yeah, thank you. I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Don, because I think this is really, you know, I think just forward thinking. And thank you for, I mean, I know that obviously everybody right now is really focused on climate resiliency and what can we do? And water is a big issue, right? That we have a big, you know, water climate bond on the November ballot, and it's a big chunk of money and to address a lot of different issues. And I know water is a big one. So I'm glad, as you said, that not many cities are doing this, and to be able to have that throughout to be able to have the recycled water, 54 million gallons of water a year. That's pretty massive.
That's huge.
That's huge. That's huge. And to be able to have that partnership with the school district, because it's not only our parks, but also to have the partnership with the school district. I think that's really important. So as we try to really mitigate some of, you know, the climate impacts, it's not going to take just us as a city to do that, but it takes those partnerships, right? So I'm super excited that this is happening and that we're entering into this MOU. And obviously, if we can save money on both ends, you know, with the district, I think that's really great. And it'll go out to the public as a Prop 218, as you said. So it'll be a public process to be able to go through the rate system. But I'm excited that we're the first in the Tri-County, and hopefully we could be a model for others to be able to do this. And Soledad continues to lead the way, especially in a lot of the climate resiliency component, right? That they don't see us as this, but I think we as leaders in Soledad need to really tout this because this is huge, you know, this is especially in the space of water. So thank you for bringing that to us, and thank you for moving on this. I know it's you know, we've tried to push this for a while, so I'm glad that it's finally here. And thank you to the Board of Trustees also for them supporting this project and this initiative to move it forward.
And I'm gonna try to have this on the board agenda for their meeting on November 13th. Yes.
On November 13th?
Yes.
Okay.
Just through the chair, you know, the map that you guys had, that'll be impressive so that the people can see that it's not just a connection, it involves the whole city.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's huge. So thank you for that. Okay, so with
We
that,
had a couple of wet years, so we've almost, not completely forgotten, the 5 years, 7 years of drought we had, where we almost had to have brown ball fields and school fields with this project.
yeah.
They'll always be green.
Yeah, and I think we've had, you know, where people come and say that as a city, right, that our fields are really nice and our parks are really nice because they're green. You go to some other cities and locations and the parks are not as nice. So, you know, now saying, hey, they're nice, but then we're also being good stewards of our water, and we're utilizing recycled water is even a better benefit. So with that, council, then I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 6167.
I motion.
Okay, second. So there's a motion on the floor, Councilwoman Banuelos, a second by Mayor Velasquez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries on a 4-1 with one being absent. So thank you, council. We have one more item on our agenda under business. Presentation on the fire aerial apparatus spade project. And so with that, thank you, Randy, for being here. Thank you. So we will move on and we'll have a staff report and I will turn this over to Alex.
Mayor Anna, before we proceed, I'd like to excuse myself, because it does pertain to CAL FIRE, if it's necessary.
I think so.
No, it won't be necessary because this is actually not anything you have to take action on. It's an information only.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
yeah, you're definitely clear to sit through this presentation, no problem at all.
Okay.
And then I just would ask staff, I don't know if we can restart the timer.
But it's still at 10.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, it's recommended that the city council receive a presentation regarding the fire aerial apparatus spade project.
Okay.
Awesome. So, good afternoon, everyone.
And before you start,
Sure.
Alex, I just, Mayor and Council, I just want to acknowledge the amazing work that Alex has been doing
Thank you.
on this project. He has been herding cats, including city manager, to really help, I think, get this project moving and making sure that we're all coordinated, not just public works and city manager, but also public safety, fire and police. So I just wanted to acknowledge he's been a real asset on this project. So thank you.
Before we
Alex.
proceed, can I just be excused? I just, out of just for
Yeah, so-
transparency.
So let me make sure that we connect, because so let me make sure that we get guidance from our city attorney, Councilwoman Banuelos, only because I know our duties and responsibilities as council members is really to make sure that we're part of the process of what's being discussed before us, and we're not, I don't think, but I'm not an attorney, so I want our attorney to give us that guidance. So Mike, can you provide guidance in terms of your determination for this item, please, for Councilwoman Banuelos? Because I want to make
Yeah.
sure as elected officials, we get elected to make decisions and to sit on the board to make sure that we don't have any conflicts, and want to make sure that this is not one of those instances.
Sure, this is just a presentation item, sort of a status update. This is what's going on in the process and so forth. No decision, no determination being made whatsoever. So, you have a financial conflict when you're trying to influence a decision that's going to be made, that will benefit you in a personal basis and so forth. And there's no element of that present in tonight's presentation. So, Councilwoman Banuelos is perfectly free to sit through the presentation, ask a question if she wants to, even if something like that comes up. So there's no decision that's being made. I mean, we've been very cautious about having her recuse herself on other items. CAL FIRE is a very big organization, and she is an employee of a large organization, and so there's even probably some wiggle room in terms of just her recusal of herself on decision making. But it's always, I think, good idea to err on the side of caution in those kinds of matters. And so I know that she has recused herself in the past on decision making items, and I believe that that's a good, prudent choice on her part. But for this evening's presentation, there's no decision going on, and she should be free to sit and listen and hear the presentation just like anybody else.
And if I might add, this apparatus bay is not owned by CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE has nothing to do with it. They're personnel that we contract with, but this is actually a city facility. So that's the difference too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also promise it's a good presentation.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure. Thank you.
So, good evening once again, everyone, Mayor, council members. My name is Alex Ramos. I'm the assistant engineer with the city of Soledad. I'm happy here to present the fire aerial apparatus spade project update phases 1 and 2. Really, the intention of this presentation is to kind of
give council an overview of where we've been, where we're at, and where we need to go. I also just wanted to acknowledge that we do have our on-call traffic engineer, Leo Treviro, on standby in case there's any traffic-related, questions that he may be able to help answer. So without further ado, just a quick overview. So we're gonna be talking about the background, how we broke the project up into phase 1 and 2, some of the design challenges we've had to overcome, one of them we're still currently in the process of overcoming, and then next steps associated with this project. So background, great picture, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Background, so the city received $2 million earmarked from the Senator Carriero for the new purchase of a ladder truck. And in January of 2023, City Council authorized the purchase of this very great asset to the city, this 105-foot ladder truck. And like I said, kudos to everyone on the team and associated for this project. It's been a great journey with this project, really. So like I mentioned, so this project has been in the works ever since we purchased the ladder truck. When you buy a ladder truck, you also want to consider where you're going to put it, right? Hence the bay aerial apparatus bay project. So the building itself is the easy part. We knew we needed a housing unit for it, and that was pretty quick. We knew roughly the size and shape we needed it. Heck, I think In-City Architecture, who's been helping us with this project, has done similar work in Lockwood for their apparatus, a new fire station out there. So it's really a slam dunk having them on this team. But associated with this project, we have the following scope of work: the new metal building itself, frame, walls, roofs, and of course, all the future utilities, thumbing it out, and sleeves. The reason why we broke this up into 2 phases is because we wanted to get this under contract because of the ARPA funding. We wanted to have it locked down. So we went ahead and took what we knew and what was secure, the phase 1, the building and foundation, out to bid, and we recently took that to council earlier this year for approval, and we have it through MPE. So moving forward here, kind of into the meat of this project is where we're at currently now. So phase 2 of this project was really to cover a lot, and as you can see from this aerial, that's practically the whole city of Soledad compound. Right, you have the PD entrance from Soledad going into roughly where the apparatus is going to be, and then you have some additional work extending out to Main Street. So I'll quickly touch into some of those items here in the next couple slides, but just to give you an overview of what the scope of work for phase 2 is going to include, it's going to include new concrete, new asphalt, improved structural sections. We're going to be running a very large, heavy ladder truck through here. We would hate to see the asphalt get torn to shreds because we're trying to maneuver it in here. New parking lot striping, new fencing and gate to make sure everything's secure. No one's back there where they shouldn't need to be. And of course, that I'll be touching on in the later section, the Main Street exit redesign, where we'll talk about components of improved stopping sight distance and an easier transition onto Main Street. So, and something I forgot to mention, phase 2 was also awarded to MP, which really helps expedite this project. Having the same contractor for both parts, I mean, that's really lucky. You don't really see that too often, but considering that being the case, we have one contract to work with. We don't have anybody pointing fingers at each other saying, I'm waiting on him or I'm waiting on him, right? So with that being said, going into our first design challenge, as I mentioned, we put the aerial apparatus bay in between the existing Bill Ramus Park, the old jail, and fire bay engines. We wanted to ultimately minimize the impact we were having on the existing parameters surrounded by us. So things of consideration that we took into account was the daycare. I think it's called Windy Acres, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Bill Ramus Park, of course, we don't want to take up additional park space. And of course, the existing old jail, that's a historical monument that the city has recognized. So like I mentioned, this is a large ladder truck. It's 40 feet long, it's 8 feet wide, it's a monster, right? So I have a difficulty backing up with my truck sometimes, considering how big it is, let alone something this size, right? So as you can imagine, I have complete faith in our fire crew and the team, but backing up something like this is gonna prove challenging, right? So the way we considered going with this building is it has 2 entryways. It has, or rather, an entryway and an exit, but the front of the building is the exit. So you're having it operate in a one-way type of style, right? You wouldn't back it up unless you're backing it up straight. That's besides the point there, but we wanted to make sure that we accounted for the fact that we don't want to block traffic because you would need to reverse it from like the intersections into its location. That's challenging. So with that being said, we had our on-call traffic engineer make sure and vet that we can maneuver back there in the compound where PD is currently at. And that's really what you see on the screen there. Those purple lines that you see is what we call a truck turning template. And as you can see, it's a tight squeeze, but theoretically, we can make this work. And I know Jason can probably drive this with his eyes closed if you really. And all this was done in an attempt to make sure that we provide the fire folks who's gonna be operating this vehicle a safe means of ingress and egress, which is, you know, fancy way of saying they can get into the building and they can exit the building without, you know, running into anything or potential conflicts there. So next slide here is the current challenge we're currently trying to overcome, which is the oak tree. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna quickly just jump back a few slides. It's a little hard to see from the screen there, but you can see roughly where the oak tree's at in the picture. It's that green shaded area or clouded area that you see there. So typically when you do a building, you over excavate to account for the foundation. You typically do that as a means of safety. It's a factor you consider. Contractors love doing it because it enables us to ensure that we went beyond what was recommended and make sure we have something feasible to work with. It's just a common practice really. But as you can see, that oak tree is pretty close to where the existing building is supposed to be proposed. The roots, unfortunately, I'm gonna jump the slide, but continue talking about this one. Those brown lines you see extending towards the asphalt there, those are the structural tree roots. We had an arborist come out and look at it. Unfortunately, we can only see up to roughly where that red line is, which also has been to coincide where the approximate edge of the over excavation will likely to occur. Those green lines indicate roughly where we think the roots are going, but we wouldn't know unless we dig up a portion of this. So this week, we actually have scheduled our landscaping contractor to come out here and dig, and hopefully we have an answer as to whether the tree is to remain or to be removed within the next couple of days, but we wouldn't know until all of that is exposed. We were originally gonna have MPE do some hydrovacuum, and that would have been a cool process, but due to scheduling and their ability to get a combo truck out here, it was just a difficult task. They were essentially gonna blast this area with water and, you know, expose the whole area. We wouldn't be able to do that within the time frame. We're trying to speed up the project and get there. So with that being said, if this tree is a hindrance or, you know, we can get away with, you know, working within the parameters, we'll consider things of course, removing the tree or potentially trimming it so it's not brushing up against our nice building. And going on to the last slide. So once again, we're gonna be looking at next steps going forward. So it's the Main Street exit redesign. So one of the things we have to consider is now we've essentially eliminated a means of secondary egress for the police department. They typically would exit through that alleyway onto Monterey. They can now exit onto Main Street, but we really quickly realized that it's hard for them to do so when vehicles are parked along the side there as you're exiting upon the driveway. You really have to creep up almost to the middle of the street and look around the vehicles. But with that being said, you know, where every second counts and they're addressing distress calls, they really need to be able to make a decision and just zoom out of there. And the things were, as part of this project, we had our traffic engineer complete a stop and sight distance analysis that you can see there on the right-hand side. And essentially, based on, from what I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Leo, but it's based on a Caltrans standard where they essentially come out here, measure, and they visually see, okay, can I see this amount of distance to the left? Can I see this amount of distance to the right? Know what's hindering. And then we've talked about what options we have about improving that sight distance. And that's really key when you have a flying vehicle coming out of that driveway, especially PD, and they need to get to their emergency ASAP. So with that being said, those are the next steps that we have on our plate, is to see how we work this and incorporate it into phase 2 of our project that's already been contracted. And we wanted to let council know ahead of time of our plans with potentially displacing parking and of course removing some trees to improve that sight distance. And of course, as everyone's aware, Mossy has a really nasty dip. We have a similar dip here, not as nasty, but enough where if you speed out of there, you're losing your front bumper type of thing. And we don't want to have PD losing their front bumper. But we'll also be taking that into consideration as well. And with that being said, that's the end of my presentation. I'd be more than happy to entertain any questions council may have. We also have Leo on the call, and then we have Jason in the back. Oh, and yes, parents alone.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having all the team here to answer any questions. So let me take it out to the public first, Alex, to see if there's any questions from the public.
Sure thing.
So let me take it out to the public that's joining us via Zoom, since we don't have any public other than staff here in our chambers. Do we have any members of the public that are joining us via Zoom that'd like to make any comments on this presentation? Do we have any members of the public on Zoom? No, okay, seeing none, then I will bring it back to our council. So I'll start with Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, I have a question in the map, the phase 2. Sure. I think. Let me see. No, the next one after.
Oh, sorry.
After
The
so
design.
you have the entrance.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Dave. Jared, do you mind if I take the screen back?
Yes.
Mhm. Give me 1 second. This guy here,
The next one.
let's see. This guy,
No, the next, that one.
oh, the one with the tree roots or, okay.
No, the other one, where you have.
The one with
entrance from.
the ladder truck, lines that show the turning
That
radius.
one.
Oh, I'm so sorry, yes.
So in this one, are those purple or red?
I
I mean,
think they're
pink
purple.
or pink, okay, so do we have 2 entrances or is it's just one, the one that is going
For the ladder truck,
for the ladder truck?
we would have the one entrance and of course the ability, we would have to do so sort of a traffic control, but we could reverse it if we really wanted to through Monterey.
So, and this side is what, Soledad Street?
Correct.
So in Soledad Street, we have, so I see that, there's a little drawing that with the truck going like this, but how about going that way?
Oh, coming back out?
They will have to go around
They'll come through the bay.
to the what?
They'll come through the apparatus bay through through the front door.
So,
So it's like a one-way.
Okay.
I'm gonna go point at the screen.
No, but that's when they going out.
Yes.
Yeah, but in Soledad is when they're coming in, right?
Yeah.
So they would come into the abbey through Soledad, and that's after they're addressing any emergency call, right? They're coming in calm,
Yeah,
like
they're coming back.
Yeah.
But they will,
They
the
will leave.
exit is pretty easy, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
come in an emergency.
Right.
Yeah, no, so I was wondering that, cause they will have to go around
Right.
by the park and then come this way.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have to circle back around.
But, and the other one is also an entrance,
No, which one, I'm sorry.
so you see the line that is, or it's just in case that they have to go back and come back.
This guy here?
Yes,
Sorry, this is a little misleading. So PD has a large vehicle truck back there, and we wanted to make sure that if we're gonna have them switch over to Main Street, that their biggest vehicle can also safely exit through Main Street and it has sufficient space to turn. I'd hate to have an issue where, we can't get PD's vehicles out either.
so that's why it goes like this.
That's why it turns out this way.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But the ladder truck is not going out.
Yeah, that was my confusion.
Yeah, that was confusing.
Sorry about that.
So
Yes.
can you point where it actually is leaving and coming back in then? So it's coming in,
I don't know if you guys can see my cursor there.
Yeah.
So this is where the ladder truck will start making its turn into the police compound.
Can you point?
That'd be helpful. That might be.
Cause I don't see that, I'm sorry,
No worries.
getting
So,
older.
so the ladder truck will come off the Soledad here, start making its turn, make its left turn into the Abbey, straight into it. So it'd be a straight shot at that point.
and when it's leaving, it's leaving down.
It's leaving through Monterey, like
Oh,
the,
straight.
like a normal street.
Right, no exit that they
Yeah,
have right
and
now.
that was the intention, because there's already a lot of fire station infrastructure out there. We got
Yeah.
flashing lights that keep a clear zone, so it was a slam dunk in that case.
Got it.
Is there enough space for that truck to get out?
Yes. Reversing is the hard part. Going forward should be a lot easier.
Okay.
Okay, any additional questions?
No, that's
Okay.
fine.
Mayor Pro Tem Borrelem?
Yes, I there's probably a silly question, but you were saying that, you have trouble backing up. I was just, I have a feeling the answer is no, but these, fire trucks, they don't have a backup camera, do they?
Oh, that's a good question. Jason, do you know that answer?
It seems like it has everything else.
No, so, this truck actually does have a backup camera.
Okay.
So it has it, but if you look at any new fire station, you never wanna encourage something like this to back
Yeah.
up, especially into a metal building.
Mhm.
But it does have cameras, so would you see it back into the station? At times you might, but it's gonna be strongly discouraged to do that.
Yeah.
And luckily PD, through this whole project, PD's been phenomenal because we basically, the fire department took over their whole parking lot with this project. So they've been cordial with, Chief Watson's been very good, and same with Chief Lombardi, just allowing us to use that because it's changing the whole practice. And this is the most efficient way for us to prevent any further damage, to secure the ladder truck, to have it respond in an efficient time. The current fire engine right now backs up and it causes tons of traffic. If you guys have gone down the street, you'll see the fire truck blocks traffic, and then
Yeah.
we don't want to do that every time. It's not the most efficient way to work. So this was the best case scenario we could have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
In the times, when you guys do have to back up, do you use, do you guys use a spotter or you just?
Yeah, so when the truck backs up, Cal Fire policy is you have to have someone backing you up. So
Okay.
there's someone there.
Yeah.
Have there been
perfect.
accidents? Yes.
Yeah.
We have a process
Yeah.
to discourage that.
Okay, and I know I started out joking, but, the reason I was asking about, about the spotter is because I know over at the, landfill, was it like a year and a half ago, there was somebody, a staff person that, while the truck was backing up, there was unfortunately a fatality because of it, so I can't imagine, driving, something large and, not having a spotter or a backup camera or something, so definitely
Yeah.
important.
And this, in front of the fire station's very active with people walking and everything else. So to have something like this, 100%, we don't want to encourage backing something like this up. Not just for the infrastructure, but people, the kids, there's tons of kids there, so it's just too busy to be backing something like this up. So once this is up and moving, it's gonna be strongly encouraged. And I'll throw out there, one other piece, just in case the question I'm assuming may come up, is the location of the actual building. We've gone back and forth multiple times, pushing it back, moving it forward, push it back. This is a secured compound. You're talking, I mean, we know this truck's a $1.5 million. There's almost $1 million worth of equipment. This isn't really something we want out in the open in public view without anybody around. So the benefit to where it sits here is they can pull behind that apparatus bay, check the engine out. If they get a call, they can go in the fire engine and take off in a timely manner, and that fire truck stays secured where it's at. So that's kind of the concept of why the app base sits where it is.
Okay, and then I have one more question for you, and then I have one for Alex. Okay, yeah, my last question for you was just how, I know whenever there's like a medical call, or I honestly feel like you guys are the first responders on every emergency call that comes on in the city, or at least most. For this truck, how often do you expect to utilize it? Maybe like in a week or?
So we're kind of getting into the operations of it,
Yeah.
but the goal of this fire truck, the whole concept of it is to provide a specialty asset to the city. It is a dual purpose fire truck, so it has the ability, it carries water with it. It has the ability to go to medicals, vehicle accidents, any fire. It has everything to be the primary vehicle. Probably, and I'm guessing this is probably for the first 6 months, you're gonna see this primarily being the first out apparatus. Because it's brand new and it needs to get the bugs worked out and all the quirks out, on
Yeah.
top of the fire crews being comfortable using it. Once it's
set in motion and that comfort level's there and everybody's trained, this will turn into kind of depending on the call volume. And then you'll see the fire engine go out to medical aids. And then you'll see the ladder truck go out on fires or vehicle accidents, whatever it is. What we don't want to do is get caught in a position where the fire engine moves out and they should have taken this. But at the same time, the cost of maintenance on something like this is significant too. So we were very fortunate. There's a lot of attributes to this, like I presented before on the braking system. We have a lot in place to prevent those maintenance costs. But for the beginning to get works out, it'll be very active. And then you'll see it kind of slow down and go to those specialty calls.
Well, that's gonna be exciting to see it out and about. Thank you.
Yeah, you'll see it. I could promise you, you'll see it at every event. It's the pride of the fire station. So if these guys can run it on every single call, they would. So
Like you guys do ride-alongs?
yeah, we'll probably get inquiries on ride-alongs.
Yes, thank you so much for that. My last question is for Alex. Alex, I know there is a possibility that some of the trees may need to be removed. And I know how I feel about trees and how our community feels about them. Do we have any plans to replant them or not those trees, other trees throughout the city?
Yes, so if, you know, we happen to, so regarding the oak tree in specific, if it does end up getting removed, we do have a landscaping plan where we are gonna go and essentially do a citywide replanting. And that'll incorporate, you know, appropriate trees, because we see how, you know, they deal with sidewalks and raising them, so we do our best to plant them in the most appropriate places and the most appropriate tree. But yes, there is a plan if we do decide to get rid of the sub tree.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Of course.
Hello.
Okay. Councilwoman Baneros.
Question to Chief Lucaban. So this bay, would it provide how many staff?
Well, the bay is not providing staff.
I'm
It's
sorry,
the truck.
the truck. sorry.
So the truck's not providing staff either, the truck, and this is something we're working with the city on. Our goal with training, we have to get a lot of people trained on this, so we're starting our training process now with our current personnel. But we're gonna expand the training program, so I can't answer that today, but I can tell you our goal is to have adequate staff. It's not the truck itself, the apparatus bay doesn't increase our staffing, so that's something we're working with the city on. Megan and I have been talking quite a bit with Mike and trying to figure that out, but there's gonna be some days you may see 3 or 4 people here, because as the truck is new, we have to expand training so that multiple people are trained. So there may be some days you see 4 people on there and 2 or 3 of them could be on a training aspect. So that's something I'm working on operationally. So I don't have a solid question or answer for you, but I could tell you for at least a year with something like this, I mean, there's a lot of training. So we're bringing a lot of personnel up. We're gonna work with Greenfield, Gonzalez, CTF, and you'll see it going out quite a bit for training.
And one other question too, you had mentioned, or Alex mentioned that, there's something similar at the Lockwood station, correct? Like if we can see that.
No, it's
visual?
the metal building, the apparatus bay is what was built at the Lockwood station, so in studio architect was familiar with what was there and how that was designed and the infrastructure and the concrete requirements. So that helped us kind of expedite what we had here as far as the building. But this was the most cost-effective building, whether Lockwood had it or not. I showed it at our earlier presentation, but it's the same thing. It's a metal apparatus bay. They're just about everywhere.
Okay.
And I think the one thing just to flash is that we're looking at nicer colors than what's at the Lockwood station. So we're looking at having actual 2-tone colors for the doors and the roof. So it'll match the existing station, but be a little bit of a deeper beige, like a brownie beige. So we'll share with you the color rendering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
As much as a metal building. I mean, we're limited, but
Yeah.
I think we're doing a better job than Lockwood No slam on left.
Maybe you could put a mirror on it. and make it look
Yes.
better, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, thank you. I don't necessarily have any questions. I just want to say thank you. I know it's been a while and I know I've asked and inquired about it and I know it's taking a lot of kind of reconstruction of how we want to redesign this and as well. I guess my only question is on the last slide, Alex, where you have the 3 trees. Will those trees will be removed?
Yeah.
To improve sight distance, yes.
Okay, and those are oak trees as well?
No, I'll be honest, I'm not a big
arborist.
connoisseur of trees, but I know them as river trees. But I don't know what that coordinates in terms of species.
Okay.
I thought they were privet, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
We'll tell you what they are.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll be replanting trees somewhere else to kind of for these.
As part
Yeah.
of the plan, yes.
Okay, and then some of those spaces, just because I know parking has been quite significantly of a discussion, that we'll have some of those, parking areas removed in this area?
Yes, so we are talking about removing 10 diagonal parking spaces.
Okay, but will that be sufficient for staff? Where does staff park?
A combination of a few places. So we have on-street parking on both sides, right? We also have some space near the sleeping quarters on the fire station side, right? That little, you can kind of see it in there. Where my cursor's at. There's a few locations where we can have city employees park, but there's sufficient space on the street to accommodate everyone and residential.
Okay, so is there a way, since we're converting some of this and some of this, this serves for both, because I know the church is right in front as well, but for some of our city employees and we don't have a designated parking space. Can we convert, is there a way that we can make this like employee parking stalls?
The ones we have to remove or?
No, just some, the other ones that we're gonna have there, because we're losing 10. And the fire department's here, and we don't have very many to begin with for our staff.
You mean, can we make the street parking, employee?
Like
parking?
employee parking? Is there a way that we could do that? Would it be,
We might be able to do.
or at least a
permit-
couple of?
We might be able to do permit parking in the future. I know that some cities do that. I think what we can do is we can take a look at the counts and, look at our employee numbers and see whether or not it's necessary or not. Quite honestly, we have a lot of staff that park there, now, and it hasn't been as much of a problem. What was happening, the church started parking in the lot, and that's when we started to have more issues, but we have put, signage up. But yeah, we could look into that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we don't need it, but I mean, if we do, I think if we're removing 10 slots, that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
And if we need to just reconfigure it to make sure that we have enough parking for our staff and for fire staff, I think that's, and if we're gonna have more people come on for training or for more purposes, that we have some of those designated spots.
And while I think the staff actually park on the other side of that, the challenge could be the church, because the church may be using those spots, so they might, once they lose those spots, they might shift over where the staff typically park, so it's a good point to look at.
Yeah, but the church has a parking lot in the back as well.
Really huge, actually.
Yeah, so it's pretty huge, so I think it'll offset that, so. Okay, well, good, no, thank you for that, so timeline, I know I've asked you this, Jason. I'm gonna ask you again, because I know, as you all know, the senator is scheduled to no longer represent this area as of November 28th, 7th. And so I know we want her back, we'll get her back to just come and do the celebration, but what is the timeline for us to get the new apparatus?
So what we're gonna do is, right now it's on pace to actually coincide very, very closely with the apparatus bay. We don't wanna bring the truck here without anywhere to store it out of the elements, especially in the middle of winter. So, right now, and I know, council's seen the pictures of it starting its build, that's a great push forward because of, lack of parts and chassis and motors, transmissions. Everything was delayed with ports and all this other drama. I'm being told somewhere around January or February.
Oof, okay.
That would be the potential delivery date, is somewhere in that realm, but a lot of it again is dependent on where we have to store it. It could be earlier, they're just, with the holidays coming up, they weren't gonna tell me,
Okay.
guarantee you it's earlier or anything.
But that makes sense. We want to have the apparatus bay ready for
Right.
the delivery of the truck. So, or else we don't have a place to store it.
Exactly, and we definitely don't want the apparatus space sit there for months without a truck in it, so
Yeah.
luckily it's kind of coinciding, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. We're pretty excited. Thank you for your patience. I know you guys are waiting excitingly for this and we've been waiting patiently as well.
Very much so.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for all the work, Alex, and thank you to all the team also for all the renderings and the design, redesign and everything that needed to go into making this happen in this tiny space. So really appreciate that. So thank you. I think this was just informative, so really just appreciate that and look forward to just the final product. Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, council, so we are excited about that moving forward. So with that, we're done with our new business items. So we'll move on to our council presentations. And so let me get for yay, and it's 8 o'clock. This is a good meeting. Okay, so we can start the timer. So. Oh, wait, okay, got it. Okay, so I'll start with reporting some of the highlights from October. On the 9th, we had a meeting with Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, with Megan and Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez. We shared updates on the ARPA funds, city initiatives, housing, economic development, and the Salinas River levy concern. On the 9th, I attended the AMBAG Board of Directors. Some of the highlights, the board approved the final draft for the 2026 regional growth forecast numbers for planning purposes as part of the continuing development of the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Community strategy. So I just want to make sure our team is looking at those numbers for the population growth for the city of Soledad. And then on the 10th of October, we met with Senator John Laird, Megan, and Councilmember Cabrera. So we shared updates on the encampment resolution grant, the pro-housing application, water reclamation project, again, the Salinas River levy and the container village. On the 11th, I attended a town hall with the California LGBTQ caucus as part of their Salinas Valley Rural Town Hall. Assemblymember Ward and Speaker Rivas discussed issues and concerns related to our LGBTQ community and services, support, and resources needed. So I want to just thank the Epicenter for being present and voicing their concerns related to housing and health care. And also Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez was in attendance. On the 14th, I attended the MST Board of Directors meeting. The board approved the purchase of 9 battery electric bus chargers, and they also approved the MST transit fare policy for free days to include November 5th, which is an election day. So we get to ride the bus for free, Rosa Parks Day in December, and Senior Day in May. And also on the 16th, I met with the State Water Resource Control Board. And we, this is also with representatives from Speaker Rivas's office, and office of, with Supervisor Lopez, to discuss the Haciendas project. So there's more to come with that. And then from the 16th to the 18th, I attended the California League of Cities annual conference. I attended different workshops, was part of a panel discussion on home ownership. Discussing Senator Caballero's SB 1123, and thank you, Megan, for helping me with some of those context of those bullet points. And then I also was sworn in again as a treasurer for the Cal Cities Latino Caucus. And then on the 23rd, I attended today the Leadership Council Coalition of Service Providers. So they talked about the 2024 HUD policy priorities and their NOFA that's going to be submitted on October 30th. Believe it was, this October 30th, Megan, and it's about 3.5 million that's gonna be available. And then, also attended the MST Board of Conduct Subcommittee meeting today, just to discuss code of conduct policies for future board approval in January. And then just my recognitions and highlights, I want to thank the Alliance on Aging and our recreation team for coordinating the Solution Summit last Thursday, to develop the Aging and Disabilities Action Plan that was hosted at our community center. So thank you. Okay, so with that, I will turn it over to Councilmember Cabrera.
Oh, I had, just a couple of things, I believe that on the, was it on the 10th that we had the meeting with, Jesus Valenzuela and Fernando Ansaldo for that,
The
legislative committee. I always forget that word. Legislative committee, and then later on I had a meeting with Megan, Mayor, and Senator Layer. And on the week of 14 to 18, I attended the League of California Cities conference, which was really, really good. I think that this time I was paying more attention. I felt more comfortable with being there and with the topics. I actually had, I wanted to share this, that I was walking around in the expo and AARP, I was actually looking for a pen. And they said, is your city an age-friendly city? And then they started telling me that they have a program in which they help us identify resources and they can help us do a survey for the program. So I learned a lot. I met a lot of people, and I think that we have a lot to do in our city, and we can do it. Then today I attended the TAMC meeting, which was mostly about reports. We had one item, a close item that had a lot of issues, but I think that we got the best solution for the parties involved. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll move to Mayor Pro Tem Corralejo.
Yes, I had a couple of events. We haven't had a meeting in a while, so I'm trying to remember. But I did attend, in no specific order, the Department of Rehabilitation, had a resource fair on Saturday. And I attended that. It was honestly great. There were so many different organizations and agencies that I had never, had an opportunity to, communicate with, and there was a lot of good ones that I'm gonna be reaching back out to them, and hopefully they're able to bring their services for our community. I also attended on Monday the Soledad High School girls flag football. We haven't, we're usually real good on the council on bringing up and supporting our high school athletes, and so that's definitely something that I enjoy to see, these young fearless girls out there playing flag football. Also, I have been meeting with Megan regularly, and there's a lot of different concerns, or not concerns, I should say, but things that are important to me because they're important to our community that I have been bringing up now that my time on the council is winding down, and some of those are the daycare, animal services, business support, affordable housing for all. And so those are things that I will continue, even past my time on council, will continue to advocate for our city. Also, I wanted to take the time to invite everybody to Spook Fest. It's gonna be on October 31st from 3 to 6. So everyone on the council, as well as everybody out in our communities invited. That's a event that my husband and I started back in 2020 during COVID. And this year it's we have partnered with the city and also with our police department, with our parks and rec. So we have the usual contest that everybody loves, but we also have a haunted house this year. So I'm excited about that. And we are looking for volunteers as well. And then in conclusion, I have 30 seconds. I just want to say that I invite everybody to vote. And if you are not registered to vote, please register today. You could do it from your cell phones. There are a lot of, even though locally on our council, nobody ran against anyone. But we do have the presidential election as well as some other ballots and measures that are going to be impacting you. Thank you. So vote, please.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Banuelos.
Okay, it's 3 minutes. Okay, so October 8th, we met, actually the Monterey County Veterans Parade Committee I am part of. We met with KRON so that way we can launch and promote our Veterans Parade for Monterey County. Parade will be, of course, November 11th. Also October 9th, I also attended the Monterey County Veterans Parade because I'm also part of the committee, so we're launching it. And also those who are interested, adults or teenagers, needed community service. If you are interested in volunteering, please reach out. Also, October 10th, we had a cemetery board meeting at the Calvary Gourmet Pizza. And I just want to say thank you for those who come in for public comment. I really appreciate the community members and the residents that do attend, because we want to hear from the community. October 11th, I did have a part of the 4th of July committee. We did have a fundraiser at the Taste of the Pinnacles, and it was our first launch of fundraising for our fireworks show, and it was great. And I do ask that you continue to support the fundraisers, not just the 4th of July, but all the nonprofits. Also, October 15th through the 18th, I did attend the League Cities conference, and that was my first experience, networking with different cities, meeting city managers, city council, and also networking. And I was very happy to meet Captain Sandy from Below Deck Mediterranean. And I want to say thank you for just partnering up and just very insightful information and getting to know everyone and listening and hearing what other cities are doing, and me saying, hey, we can do that too. So October 21st, we did have our first Christmas parade committee, so that is going to be launching soon. And also, I guess I'm also sharing to the community, we will be having a zombie run October 26th. That is part of CAL FIRE. Zombie run is going to be held this Saturday at 9 a.m. till 11. So if you guys are interested, please attend. And also, again, Spook Fest is going to be October 31st from 3 to 6. And then also partnering up with Liberty Chapel Church. This is the California Parks and Rec, sorry. I'm just looking at my time. The Soledad Parks and Rec did partner with Liberty Chapel Church to again have their our annual harvest night on the 31st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I want to say thank you for everyone that's supporting and getting involved. And again, one other thing is the Dia de los Muertos, November 2nd. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I forgot one too. So the Soledad Committee with Líderes Campesinas is having their domestic violence vigil on October 28th from 6 to 7:30 at Cesar Chavez Park. And that's in collaboration with the Soledad Police Department. So again, October 28th from 6 to 7:30 at Cesar Chavez Park. So make sure you go out there also and support. And I'm assuming all of this stuff, all of these flyers are on our city webpage. So making sure that our residents stay informed of what's being sponsored in collaboration with the city. So thank you. A lot going on.
I also forgot something. Soledad Historical Society has the tea this Saturday, from, I believe it's from 1 to 4. If you have a chance, stop by and get a teacup.
1, 2.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that,
May I add one other thing too? You know what, I also attended, just one other thing too is, I also attended church service. And the reason why I say this is because, you know, we're busy, you know, and then we wanna just make sure that we balance ourselves too. So I wanted to share that, but I did attend church service too. Thank you.
okay, and then we'll just make sure that, I mean, yeah, so we'll, I know, but I think we have to make sure that we stay within what's within the purview of the city business, when we do our reports. Okay, so let's go on to our next item of business. Well, actually, now the next item is our city manager report. We did receive our city manager report, so unless there's any questions, or Megan, do you have any highlights on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to, a couple of important things to note. Tomorrow is Steven's last day with the city, and I just wanted to acknowledge his contribution to the city, both for the 4 years he was a contractor and then the 4 years he was a director. A lot of the systems that we have in place and a lot of the advances we've made in technology has to do with his hard work and diligence. We do have a consultant that is helping. His name is Robin, and Diego Herrera from the city of Soledad, I'm pleased to say, is our new IT technician. So those folks will be helping us with the transition. But if you have a chance to wish Stephen best wishes, tomorrow is your last day to do so. So you can shoot out an email. I did want to mention that we do have a haunted house at the community center on Friday for teens, and that's from 6 to 9 p.m. So if you guys could spread the word, that would be great. You already noted Spook Fest and the Harvest Fest, the domestic violence event. And I just wanted to put a special plug again on the Dia de los Muertos. It's our second annual one, and it's going to be from 3 to 6 p.m. So this is a very family focused event, so I'm excited about that. I did want to let the public know, I know it was in my report, but we are going to be postponing the Vine and Dine event. For many reasons, we want to make sure that this event is a huge success. And so I think it was not coming together as we planned. And part of it has to do with all of the events that we just listed off that are all happening in a very short period of time. So we're looking to do something in the spring. So more to come on that. I also, as we're talking about events, we are tentatively planning to do a ribbon cutting on November 16th for the murals. More to come on that. And of course, I think we've also talked about doing something on Veterans Day in the morning. So those are also in the works. And then lastly, I know it was in my report, but this, I think I mentioned this before. We went out for a facilitator to help us with the goal setting and strategic plan process. We did not get any takers. So Jesus Yanez and I are working to really focus on getting a very good strategic plan, but we really want it to be more than just a plan that sits on a shelf. So we're very interested in this concept called strategic doing. And so, we were in discussions with a couple of different entities, but it might actually be a little bit more robust than we were originally thinking, but I think it'll set us in good stead to move the city forward and maybe a little bit of a longer look at a 3 to 5 year sort of plan. So we'll be reaching out to council and getting your feedback on that as we get the proposals together. But I haven't forgotten. The reason why it's been delayed is because we didn't get a response the first time around, but I'm very excited about a couple of conversations we've had, and I think we're bringing some new people to the table that will maybe do something even better. We might be kind of the first in this area to do something very unique. So more to come on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Megan. That's a lot of different stuff coming up. So I don't know if any of the council have any questions on the report.
No, it might be, I don't know, it would be good to get a calendar.
Yeah, I know.
This 2
So-
months.
Yeah, I know, it's a super
great.
busy. Okay, council, then we'll go on to future agenda items, and I'll start with Councilwoman Bañuelos. And if you don't have any, don't think of any.
Yeah,
no,
So,
it's good
yeah,
if you
so
don't,
if you
for
don't
me.
have any. But I think there's already a long list of
Yeah.
items that we've had.
Yeah.
So, okay, Councilwoman, Mayor Pro Tem Corralejo.
I have one. Yes, I think for me, just like for everybody else, the youth is very important, and I have, I wanted to bring up, I know we have the youth violence prevention program that we had approved a while back, a long time ago, and we used ARPA funding for that. I know the ARPA funds are exhausted already, so I just wanted to see if we had anything else, any other future, I guess, things that we're planning on doing for our youth to make sure that, you know, we are prioritizing them. I know the Explorers program, I don't think I've seen it. Seen the Explorers also, I'm not sure if that is still active or if we're making changes or adjustments to it, but I think just having that, today we're speaking about the NJROTC and how awesome they are, and they really are. But I just want to make sure that we are, as a city, that we're providing something for our youth. So that's my future agenda item. If we have any reporting on what are we doing as a city when it comes to our youth.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Cabrera?
No.
Okay. I have some pending items, Megan, so I just need a status update on some of my pending items that I've discussed. I don't have them with me, and my computer broke down, and
Okay.
I hope to get it hopefully by next week, but I do, just on the items that you talked about with and maybe they can be intertwined when we do our goal setting session. But I know that the league has some resources in terms of the DEI concept of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I think we haven't really discussed that, but I really want to take a look at how that's implemented within our structure. And really, I think I want to be able to see that implemented in terms of our management process and how are we utilizing the DEI to ensure that there really is diversity and equity and inclusion across the board in our organization. And then the other thing also, and it kind of aligns with what Mayor Pro Tem talked about, but for me, it's more of, I want to have a discussion on a public safety master plan. And I'm not sure, like, I try to Google like how many cities have like a public safety master plan. I know we're working on a general plan. And I know the general plan obviously has elements, different elements included, but I really want to take a look at, you know, a holistic public safety plan that includes all of these other components that we've been talking about. I know we've had presentations by our youth council in regards to the environmental design. What did they call it?
Step 10,
The
crime prevention.
The crime prevention through environmental design. And we've had, you know, the ARPA funding used for, you know, Partners for Peace. And we've had a lot of other efforts that we've engaged in the last 2 years, but I want to make sure that it's sustainable. So I thought of that, well, the concept of putting a master plan together that gives us, a strategic plan to be able to look at. I don't know what that looks like, but can we explore something like that? And maybe maybe we explore that during our, during the goal setting session to see what does that look like? So when you're having conversations with the people that are helping us put together that, to say, how do we explore something similar to that? And I'll look for more ideas, because I'm trying to figure out who has something that we can use a template as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think, between the general plan and the strategic plan, I think we could probably get what you're referring to. Some cities, do a more robust public safety element, which becomes their, public safety master plan. I know, when I was in the city of Flint, that was a huge important thing. And so we actually took the master plan and really beefed up and talk about things like youth violence prevention and things of that nature, and we wanted it in the master plan because it was, integrated in the entire city. It wasn't just a police, or even fire thing, but it was all of our, rowing together. So that might be a good approach to take a look at.
Yeah, and I think with, all those different elements, right? And I think we all need to look at that too. And as our city is growing and as, we're looking at all these different elements and we've had a lot of different elements to add to public safety, but we don't have a robust plan. And how do we make sure that we do have something that's sustainable? So, okay, so with that, council, then if there's no other items of business, then we adjourn this meeting at 8:37.